Okay, so let's do an art talk today. This is a little different than the wave painting naturally, and we're just starting. And this is at the very, this is just the beginning, right? It's very hard to capture. It's a lot of dark parts, So I'm going to turn this off, and then we'll see if the ambient light from outside will make a difference. I'll turn this one off too. Right, because it's very hard for this very small aperture to capture, the depth of colors in this, and what I think I'm going to call it is space is not empty, which is very. It's a perfect title if you ask me. Mwah. Right? And I can see there's almost like this platypus thing going in there, like from Aborigine Australian, this shape of the universe. What's it that one of these cultures that believes that the world is carried upon a turtle's back, something like that. Swimming about in this vacuum of not a well, it's not actually, you think about it, space is more fluid than we think it is. It's it's a very much strange in comparison to a lot of the solid material that we're used to here on Earth, right? Like once you get out there, the laws of physics is just completely different than what we're used to here. Macro physics versus like micro and subatomic particle physics, right? And this is being done for a black man. He's a fellow aircraft mechanic. He's a good friend. He's a farmer. He enjoys a little bit of marijuana, which I don't blame him. And his heritage is from the Caribbean, so like the Indies, somewhere around there. And his perspective, he says, I'm not black, I'm freaking native, right? I'm Central American native. That's what he says. All right. So we got my titanium mug here with some root beer in it, and I got my whiskey ball in there, a little bit of a rock of ice, and if we're going to talk about once I have a sip here, if I'm going to talk about this a bit more, it's very complicated to do a space painting. And since it's all oils, like I can tell now, even just now, the vibrancy, like the camera has a very hard time, as I said, because of the size of the aperture, right? And this is why they put the James Webb up in space. It's because of radio interference and other distortion and X-ray and stuff like that. That's how you get the perception of depth and density and chemical composition, because when the different wavelengths reflect, and absorption light of and also your non-visible light. So then we're talking like ultraviolet, infrared, X-ray, right? How you detect, say quasars or other spatial bodies in these, because this field, this star field, right? This snapshot that is just so unique and so complex. It's like when it's finished, I want it to look like I'm staring into a coffee cup, and I'm watching the cream and the coffee mixed together, right? which is almost symbolic and metaphorical for my friendship with this client and myself, to create this piece of artwork. Well, I get by with a little help from my friends, as he does. Without each other, we are nothing. No man an island, and we're on a rock, which is an island in space. And him being an islander, hey, there's a multitude of levels. Like I'm saying, I'm when I think about these paintings, I'm not just thinking about the image, because a good piece of art isn't just about the image. It's about why. Why would you fucking do that? Why would you paint that? Why would you spend so much time, so much effort laying down every one of those brushstrokes and like those finer details? Why would you fucking do it? What's the point, right? The engineer's dilemma of the trap, right? Which is they spent so much time trying to figure out if they could do it, and not enough time thinking about whether or not they should do it, right? This is where I'm coming from, and I think about even further, if you want to give it a modern contemporary context. So this moment, we're talking about May 3rd, Wednesday, 2023. So we're in the middle of the week here. And well, not that I care, because I don't have a job. I just sleep or work out. I surf the internet. I do research. A poor man don't care, right? Like I have support like other people don't. Which means I'm lucky, right? I'm lucky in that regard. And this client and I, we share a lot in that he grew up with basically nothing, right? He's a very resourceful person, very inventive, very smart. And I too grew up in somewhat of the same way. People think that when they look at me by perception and by judgment that I have a lot of money, but I don't. I have debts like everybody else, but it's not about the money, right? That's what what builds relationships, is that if you're doing it for a bigger reason, then it's worth doing, right? That's the altruism, right? And my buddy here, whether he knows about it or not, my family obviously being involved with, vulnerable people, and with, the downtrodden and the disregarded of society, which is, what Jesus did, spirituality. It doesn't matter where you come from, as long as you understand the relationship between the Creator and ourselves. And many cultures have different names for him or her, but this ethereal, this heavenly body, right? Heavenly bodies in our existence that we have so little understanding about, right? The mystery of our existence. And that's where I'm getting at with this more so too, is that I want it to be mysterious. I want it, unlike the painting, for those who have, for all the women I've ever loved, that's purposeful. That's a gut punch, right? I want this to be more of a sense of awe and presence, and just right, amazement, absolute amazement, and maybe a bit of fear. Honestly, because we should be afraid. We should be. There's so many things out there that can kill us in an instant, like that, like a micrometeorite through, and yeah, I'll just leave it there, because those who are knowledgeable about that, like, ooh, 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 ooh. But not crippling. I don't want anyone to be crippled when they regard my work. I want them to be empowered and fascinated by the process, right? Because it took me a long time to really think about how I was going to lay this down, right? And it's been a couple of months between finishing, the wave painting for all women I've ever loved, and this one, the name, as I said before, which I'm probably going to make it. We're going to call it, space is not empty. And then going back to, again, my family and dealing with spirituality. Like, my father was involved here in London with the moving of the slave chapel. And again, London is, as I said in other videos, has been a central location in the past with the Underground Railroad. And, my family on my father's side has, splinters of the family tree, Nova Scotia Blacks and Natives. Micmac, yeah, something like that. French or New Brunswick natives somewhere in there. It just, that's part of the history of Canada. Like, people like to think that white people in Canada are just the devil, but we're not. Okay, we're part of this geography, and there's nothing you can do to get rid of us. I'll tell you that, because there's unintended consequences to assaulting an ethnic group. And not to get a little bit more radical, but my buddy boy, whom I'm doing this for, is very passionate and very assertive about his history and his group of humanity. And I want to empower him for that, because good fences make for good neighbors, and we need respect. We need respect for each other, because if we don't, if we just become part of this huge gray brown human mess, like some people want us to be, where it's just a differentiation of income and intelligence strata, right? Like George H.G. Wells' Time Machine, the surface dwellers and the underground folk, right? Which is completely and utterly stupid. Okay, if you're ever gonna watch this, you're a fucking idiot for thinking that's the way that we should go forward. And I say that as an educated and as experienced and enlightened human being. Fuck you. You don't know what you're doing. Cut it out. Simple, right? Every time we try to control some aspect of humanity, there's blowback and there's some explosion. We can't, and all of a sudden there's something out there in the public that we can't control. That's the truth of the matter. That's the historical truth. And you can't control space, okay? You can't. You can't control humanity, because we are stardust, right? If I'm gonna do that Carl Sagan meme here. And a lot of times that we're enslaved to that idea that we have control, that we have absolute control. And that we can use a logical deduction to a fault. You can. It's called the logic fallacy, right? Or the fallacy, where you doubt something so much in skepticism that you completely and utterly discredit your argument. It becomes full circle at that point, and everything's a cycle. Everything's a cycle, right? You go from organization to disorganization, disorganization, from a cloud of expansive intermingling dust and gases of differentiating temperatures that swirl around and gain momentum and gain attraction to each other through magnetism, and all of a sudden, poof, you have a star, right? I think that's correct, if I remember. So there's, the color of black people, right? The same as it is with white people. We're not all alabaster, and they're not all, niggers, right? They're not all Nigerians. There, I said it. Nigger, 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 nigger. It's just a fucking word, okay? The difference is the attitude, and that's what the context, like, okay? I don't need to explain it. I'm just going to leave it in the video. If you don't like it, I don't care. I don't care. I don't. I really don't. Because I too have been a slave. I too have been a slave. And many of you watching this video, you've been a slave too. You've been addicted to a construct or something along those lines, right? And I'm not going to say it in anger. I'm not going to use it to target or to, discriminate, because racism as the idea, excuse me, exists in every fucking culture. In every culture, right? This human mess, this soup of biological and psychological interaction. This is why I want this to have movement, and I'm getting there, right? And there's very slight differentiations, and the digital realm will never be able to capture a good painting. It doesn't, and it won't, because you have to be there. You have to be in front of it. You have to be living with it. You have to understand it and perceive it for what it is. And what it is beautiful. All of us are beautiful. Even my niggas. Right? So, no more to be said at this point. I got nothing to prove to anybody. I've already shown and demonstrated multiple times that I'm more than capable of supporting my arguments and my intelligence, and proving, that, I am more than what people perceive me to be. And my art means something. And that's why I do the art talk, is because art means something. It means something. We, as a people, we mean something. Canadians, we are worth something. We are worth respecting, as are many other cultures. And, this is why we do the scientific pursuit. This is why we continue to advance, and we continue to push the boundaries of what is possible in aerospace engineering and other fields. Because the deep field of color out there, the color out of space, there's life out there. I believe that. I believe that to be certain. We are not alone in this universe. And there's many different wavelengths. Sometimes we're sympathetic to each other. Sometimes we're in dissonance. But the reality is that we're alive. And so is this painting. And so is all of existence. So I hope that's what you see when you look at this painting.